Hi friends, this is Vivek from Gadget Guide for you, and in today's video I am comparing two smartphones. One of them is the Moto X Play, which costs rupees 18,499 for the 2GB RAM with 16GB inbuilt memory, while the 2GB RAM with 32GB inbuilt memory costs rupees 19,999. But when it comes to the Asus Zenfone Selfie, it starts at a price tag of rupees 15,999 for the 2GB RAM with 16GB inbuilt memory. The 3GB RAM with 32GB inbuilt memory costs rupees 17,999. Both the smartphone available on Flipkart, and depending on your requirements you can purchase any of the smartphone. We'll go further into deep. Both the smartphone has 5.5-inch full HD display, and the Moto X Play is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 3, but the Asus Zenfone Selfie is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 4. The there is no issues while using any of the smartphone. When it comes to a display, both the smartphone has good viewing angle, and the screen to body ratio is also good. Above all, the sunlight readability on both the smartphone is good, and there are minimum bezels when it comes to, and the form factor is good too on both the smartphone. Above the display there is a 5 megapixel camera with range of sensors, speaker gill, LED notification light above the display on Moto X Play. The on-screen buttons are part of the display, and there is a speaker gill below the display on Moto X Play. But when it comes to Asus Zenfone Selfie, there is a 13 megapixel camera with real-time flash, speaker gill, range of sensors, notification light above the display, and below the display there are capacity buttons, and the below the capacity buttons there is a metal chain. The Asus Zenfone Selfie borrows the design from its predecessors, and the Moto X Play has a unique design when compared. When you look at the right hand side, there is a power key and volume key on Moto X Play, but there is a push button on Asus Zenfone Selfie. At the back, both the smartphone has different design. The Moto X Play has 21 megapixel camera with dual tone LED flash. There is a Motorola branding, and the back has a textured finish, which is pretty good and haven't found in any other smartphone. But when it comes to Asus Zenfone Selfie, there is a 13 megapixel rear camera with volume rocker key, laser autofocus, real tone flash, Asus branding, Zenfone branding, and a big speaker. When you remove the back panel of the device, you will get access to nothing. And but when you remove the back panel of the Asus Zenfone Selfie, you will get access to the dual SIM card slot and the micro SD card slot. Above all, the battery capacity of 3000 mAh. When it comes to a battery capacity, the Motorola Moto X Play has 3630 mAh battery, and it is a big when compared to the Asus Zenfone Selfie. The when you look at the build quality of both the back panel of both the smartphone is decent, and you will not find any issues with it. And ab above the display, you will see that there is a 3.5mm audio jack on both the smartphone, a mic and power key on Asus Zenfone Selfie, but there is a SIM card slot on Moto X Play, and you need a pin to remove this SIM card slot. And you can use both the SIM or the micro SD card slot. By using micro SD card slot, you can further expand the memory up to 128 GB. But if you use this micro SD card, then you can't use the second SIM as a SIM card slot. So there you are bound to it, and this is the limitation with the Moto X Play, and you have to bound to it. And on the left hand side there is nothing on any of the devices, and at the bottom there is a micro USB slot for charging the device, and there is a mic on Asus Zenfone Selfie. this is the few differences when you look at, and the build quality of both the smartphone is good. When you tap on notification toggle panel, you will get access to few settings, and the Moto X runs on Android version 5.1.1 Lollipop, but when it comes to the Asus Zenfone Selfie, it still runs on Android version 5.0 with Asus Zen UI 2.0 on top of it. And apart from this, both the smartphone is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 processor and paired with Adreno 405 GPU. The both the devices are octa-core devices, and the difference is that it has 2 GB of RAM while it has 3 GB of RAM, and with 32 GB inbuilt memory, and the inbuilt memory in Motorola Moto X is also 32 GB with the unit I have. And the when you expand the memory further, you can expand the memory up to 64 GB on Asus Zenfone Selfie. But when it comes to a Motorola Moto X, you can expand the memory up to 128 GB. When you look at the benchmark results, you will find that there is a complete different story, and the Antutu benchmark score is really different. Although there are so much similarities when it comes to the processor and the memory front, the Geekbench score is also different, and the Motorola Moto X Play has edge over it, and the Quadrant score is nearly same on both the devices, but Motorola Moto X Play has high benchmark scores when compared, and when you play high-end graphics game like Asphalt and Motorola Moto X Play, you will find that there are no issues while playing, and the game runs pretty good, and there are no issues while playing such a high graphics game. And when it comes to Asus Zenfone Selfie, the game also runs smooth on both the devices, and you will find that there are no issues, and the game runs pretty good, and there are no frame delays, and the multitasking was pretty good, and switching between apps on both the smartphone is good. The both the smartphones are 4G LTE smartphone and have other connectivity features like 3G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.0 on both the smartphone. The Asus Zenfone Selfie weighs 170 grams, while the Motorola Moto X Play weighs 169 grams, and the dimensions are it is 10.m to 3.9 mm thin, but when it comes to the Motorola Moto X, it is 8.9 to 10.9 mm thin. Both the smartphone has curved design, and you can find that the smartphones are made up of good materials, and both the smartphone offers premium feel. The only odd thing I like on Asus Zenfone Selfie is that the placement of the power button. Otherwise, the phone has pretty good specs, and about to overcome this problem, the Asus has empowered the smartphone with a number of gesture features, and with just a double tap, you can easily wake up the phone. And that's all for today. If you are go by my choices, then I would recommend you for Motorola Moto X. The reason is that it will sooner get the Android Marshmallow update, but there is no word on the ability of Android Marshmallow on Asus Zenfone Selfie, and it has high benchmark scores with bigger battery, and the back camera is 21 megapixels, which is a big thing, and you will find that after buying the Motorola Moto X, you will not regret it. This is your host Vivek signing off. Thanks for watching this video. Do not forget to share this video with your friends.